Yeah. I mean, you have to think about some of these things deeper, right? Because the reason why I'm asking that is because being an entrepreneur is going to be a lot of work. And I don't care if it's in what we do as real estate investors or not. But you're going to go through very difficult times. You're going to go through massive success times. You're going to go through challenges that you've never faced before. You're going to have to push yourself harder than you've ever wanted because it's your business, it's your baby, it's your income, it's all about you. And so why go through the hard times if you're okay making $100 grand a year? What's your biggest weakness, would you say?
Consistency.
Okay. Consistency is hard to replace. So what I'm trying to get at is usually in partners, you're going to have a partner who is more of an operational type of mindset, and then you have someone who's more creative, visionary type, typically, right? Because, for example, I'm the visionary creative. I can make it rain, but I'm terrible at the fucking operational, systemize everything, spreadsheets. So I need my business partner, Eddie, to fill that for me, and vice versa. He's way better at that than he is at making it rain, right? And so with us together, we're able to, you like that, make it rain? But we're able to actually be in different seats without stepping on each other's toes, and it creates more opportunity because I don't have to focus on the operational. I can just go focus on the opportunities.
Well, I think that that's the operational is what I struggle at, because it's like I can create a plan or say I'm going to do this, and it's keeping track of it. I don't know, it's just so hard for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping track of my numbers or coming up with systems that's hard for me.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. And I think that kind of has to do with consistency factor of it. Because it's like being consistent with tracking my stuff, being consistent with doing the marketing, sending out marketing, or being consistent with making the calls. So,
But none of that's difficult.
no, it's not.
That's where I'm like looking at you like the things you're talking about, sending out marketing, none of it's hard.
Just staying organized and consistent is my...
You would be consistent if it mattered enough. You just would.
Yeah.
Like, just go back to the days when it didn't matter enough to you, but it mattered to your parents. You went to school every day as a kid, right? Because that's what you had to do. And we didn't always want to. But you were consistent at it because your parents found the value of you going to school every day, so you didn't grow up to be a bum. Okay? It mattered. So the consistency part of anything has to matter enough. A lot of women, so for example, a lot of women right before their wedding, right, they do this crazy 30 days, 60 days of just really working out and eating really well because they want to be in this wedding dress and it's their wedding and they need to have this look. And then the day their wedding is over, they're like, fuck this. And it's because that event was going to create them so much pleasure and was so big enough and was so important to them, they're willing to do whatever it took for 30, 60, 90, however long that is to get there. But the moment that wedding is over, they are on their honeymoon, they're eating chocolate cake, they don't give a fuck about their workout regimen anymore because the event, the outcome, is done, which I would also make the argument your outcome should never be done. It should only grow. But now, why do they want to go through all that pain, headache, and be consistent? Because they don't have anything to be doing it for.
Yeah.
So think about these things. You're not going to walk away from this right this second and be like, holy shit, okay, I got it. Now I know how to be consistent. People go through phases, right? And so I'm at a place where I'm in a really good place in my life. There's not a lot of things that frustrate me. I'm not going through a lot of things. There's not a lot of, right? I'm very secure business-wise. I'm very secure with who I am. But I'll tell you, the day I meet my partner and we get married and we have kids, I'm going to be going through challenges and issues that I've never ever come across. And so right now I can sit and I can talk to you and I can, talk about how everything is wonderful. But then there's going to be a phase in my life where I get married and we're going to have kids and I'm going to have challenges that I'm not used to dealing with. And it's going to put me and it's going to challenge my own inner workings to be able to resolve those issues. And so right now you might be in a very similar place where there's just not enough hurt, pain, or issues, and you kind of don't really know exactly what you want, is what I would ultimately say. You probably just you like the idea of something, which isn't motivating enough for you to actually go through the shit and eat enough shit and cold call 4 to 6 hours a day and, hear fuck you a million times on the phone and all these other things that aren't very pleasant, because the liking the idea of something doesn't motivate you, as it wouldn't motivate me. It wouldn't motivate me if I just liked the idea of, I don't even know what, right? Like, I have a very strong vision of what my pleasure to be, right? And it's going to all be about my future family and having the financial security to do my life the way I want to do my life, and I'm passionate about that. But I also don't expect that to happen overnight. I don't expect my income to double, triple, quadruple overnight either. I don't expect my influence to others to be this massive overnight success. And so I also understand that I gotta just keep chugging along and eat a lot of shit along the way. And what I would urge you to do, if you're gonna do the perfect day practice and write these things out, definitely do it on weekends, right? Where you can be having a cup of coffee in a good mood, maybe be sitting in a nice place, have those vibes going through you in the first place, right? Like, you don't wanna go get in a car accident and say, okay, I still gotta write out my perfect day today. Probably not the best time to go do that, right? So get into that place, and maybe it's a Sunday morning, you can listen to the birds chirp and have a cup of coffee, or eating breakfast, and kind of in that good vibes, and then start writing it out. And what I'll tell you about that practice is, you don't do it once and all of a sudden you have your perfect day. You might do that every single Sunday for a year, and all of a sudden look up at that perfect day that you finally molded and perfected and wrote over again and edited and took things out and added things in. You might finally a year from now say, holy fuck, that is my perfect day. So I would say practice that over and over and over again. You know how long it took me to find my why? And I've had Kent saying, you need to know your why for the last fucking 8 years of my life. It took me all the way up until last year to really understand my why. Because I don't have kids. I don't have a wife, right? So I don't have that to lean on. So where am I going to find that inner drive? And I found it because over the last 2 or 3 years, I've had people need me financially. I've had family members, I've had friends that basically have said, I'm fucked, I'm down and out, I've lost it all, I'm in trouble, I'm this, I that. And none of them, by the way, when I use this example, none of them did something stupid to get into that position. Maybe they just they weren't smart enough to foresee what was about to happen. But they've had to come to me, and I've been there for each and every one of them. And that's really, really important to me. That I can be the rock for my family members. And one of those family members happens to be my father. And if you can imagine what it takes for a dad to call his son to say, I need a loan, or can you help me out with this, right? And I've had friends come, and it's not because they are idiots, it's just this, that, or the other thing happens. And so my why is to be a foundation and a rock for those individuals that I love that much, right? And now, obviously I have a bunch of friends with kids, and I'm a godfather to one of my closest friends' kids, and and if anything ever happened to him, I need to be in a financial position to now take care of his wife and his daughter, and to make sure that they will live a wonderful life. And now I have these like, fuck, I gotta make sure I'm kicking some ass. I gotta make sure I'm crushing it, because if my boy goes down, I gotta get them. I need to be there for them. So my point to all that is, not a perfect practice. It's not you're gonna write it out one time and know your why, or you're not gonna know your perfect day. It's a continual thing. And it might take a month, it might take a year, it might take 10 years.
Yeah.
So what I would also say is a way to, good thing that I did, is I started becoming vulnerable and getting out online. And it started with, and you post what you want to be able to achieve, and you tell people what you're going to achieve. And now you're socially held accountable, because you don't want to let those people down. You don't want to look like a failure. That drove me. Remember, I told you, from childhood, I had this, I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. No one loves me. And it was, I was always a happy person, but it was in there, right? And I had to get it out, and I found it, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm not good enough, and no one loves me, and I'm a failure. And by putting things out publicly, saying, I'm gonna do $250,000 this year, and putting it on Facebook, and putting it on social media, and you're gonna be like, I don't wanna fucking look like a failure. I don't want people to criticize me. I don't want people to Be like, look at you, you idiot. And maybe that is motivation enough, but you can engineer the motivation.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be that type of person either. Like, I'm going to be, I don't know. Like,
But you won't. That's my point. You go and say on Facebook, if I videoed you right now, and I said, here's what you are going to go do. Tell me how much money you're going to make. I'm going to make 150 grand between now and the end of the year. How are you going to do it? I'm going to do 15 wholesale flips. You know, blah, 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 blah. And you put it out there and you let it go viral. And you shared it with everybody and told your friends to share it. And you put it in the real estate groups. You're not going to let yourself down. You will achieve it because you don't want to look like an idiot. It's human nature. You're like, well, fuck, it's out there now. I put it in the universe. Now I got to go get it. This industry is not difficult, right? It's a pretty simple process. You find a seller, you find a buyer, I'll take my 10 grand, but it is fucking not easy either. It's not easy to find the seller and find the buyer and take my 10 grand, right?